chosen ones. Do you ever feel stuck asking yourself, why do I pray every day? Do all the right things, but receive no response? You feel the doubt creeping in. Is he even listening? Is he truly there? You remember when your faith felt like a living fire, a vibrant connection. Now it feels like a broken signal, a busy line. You whisper, God, where are you? And the scariest answer isn't nowhere. It's the silence you feel in your soul. If you feel that frightening distance, this message is for you. This isn't about blame, it's about clarity. Because that connection isn't broken on his end. It's often broken by yourself. 1. The wall of unchecked noise, listening to too many voices. Your internal life has ceased to be a sanctuary. It has become a chaotic digital landfill. The very first moments of your day are instantly polluted by the collective anxieties, opinions, and shallow demands of the world. Your capacity to hear God is directly correlated to your capacity for silence. The human mind, under constant digital assault, develops a debilitating addiction to stimulation. God's interaction with Elijah was in the still, small whisper. That whisper does not compete for your attention. It requires your attention. When you have 5 competing voices from social media telling you who you are, the soft, patient voice of the Creator is mathematically impossible to perceive. We must become spiritual minimalists, ruthlessly curating our inputs. We must install intentional periods of sensory fasting, not just from food, but from the digital screen, to resensitize our ears to the frequency of peace. The connection is not lost. It is simply drowned out by a self-imposed, overwhelming cacophony. 2. The chain of refusal, holding on to what God told you to release. This barrier is constructed not from ignorance, but from willful disobedience disguised as preservation. You know the exact nature of the thing you hold on to, the relationship that expired, the addiction, the long-held resentment, or the outdated dream. We cling to these relics out of fear of the unknown, fear of pain, or fear that God's new plan won't be as satisfying as our old familiar comfort zone. You are essentially telling the divine architect that his blueprint is flawed. The principle is immutable. You cannot progress while facing backward. If you are constantly looking over your shoulder at the what if or the what was, you miss the landscape ahead. The biblical metaphor of the new wine in the old wineskins is not a suggestion. It is a spiritual law of physics. By holding on, you are not protecting the old. You are destroying the potential for the new. Surrender is not giving up. It is giving God permission to upgrade your life. Until you unclench your fist, that connection remains throttled. 3. The trap of performance, confusing busyness with holiness. We have mistakenly applied the rules of corporate America to the kingdom of God. We believe that productivity equals piety. We convince ourselves that if we are not visibly, frenetically busy, serving, leading, coordinating, then we must be close to Him. This breeds a desperate need for external validation. But often, frantic busyness is nothing more than sophisticated spiritual camouflage. We hide from the deepest questions of our heart by scheduling every minute of the day. If we slow down, the silence will force us to confront ourselves, and we are terrified of that reckoning. Therefore, we mistake exhaustion for holiness. We believe we are earning God's love through our labor. Holiness is not a measure of your output. It is a measure of your presence. God does not need your labor as much as He desires your love. His invitation is not primarily to work, but to abide, to remain, to dwell, to simply sit at His feet. Any service that flows from an empty, exhausted, and resentful spirit is not worship. It is sacrifice without devotion. Stop trying to prove your faithfulness through exhaustion. Rest is a radical act of trust. 4. the shadow of isolation, letting shame build a wall. This is the most insidious barrier because it is fueled by internalized condemnation. When you fail, as all humans do, the enemy takes the raw material of your guilt and fabricates the paralyzing structure of shame. This shame whispers a lie that is potent and destructive. You have crossed a line this time. God is finished with your mistakes. In response, you instinctively retreat. You hide from the light, believing you are protecting God from your impurity, but you are only protecting your pride from judgment. The core misunderstanding is the nature of redemption. Jesus did not come to negotiate your mistakes. He came to conquer them. He is not surprised by your sin. He died for it preemptively. Your failures did not cause him to withdraw. Your hiding caused your withdrawal. Shame thrives in secrecy and isolation. The wall crumbles the moment you choose radical transparency and step back into the light of forgiveness. The connection is mended not by achieving flawlessness, but by accepting the unconditional love that meets you precisely in your brokenness. He is knocking. The sound is not a reprimand, but a persistent invitation to intimacy. The wall dissolves when you answer. 5. The delusion of strength, spiritually drained but won't rest. Our culture worships self-reliance, extending this toxic principle into faith. We treat grace as a starting line, but effort as the finish line. When spiritual exhaustion sets in, we try to white-knuckle our way back, believing that to stop or to rest is a sign of spiritual failure or weakness. We push through burnout, attempting to fuel our spiritual lives with sheer human willpower, which is finite and brittle. The result is a spiritually hollow performance. When your spirit is running on fumes, your connection must feel broken. It's the internal combustion engine seizing up. God's design includes a Sabbath, a non-negotiable decree for rest and cessation. The Sabbath is not a suggestion for better productivity. It is a confession of God's sovereignty. It forces you to acknowledge that the world and your spiritual health can survive one day without your frantic intervention. Rest is the spiritual discipline of trust. It is the acknowledgement that He is God and you are not. When you refuse to rest, you are, in effect, proclaiming that you are strong enough to sustain yourself. The broken connection is often a necessary spiritual alarm bell, telling you that your independent fuel tank is empty, and it is time to reconnect to the divine power source. 6. The egotism of monologue. Talking more than listening. Examine your time spent in prayer. Is it a conversation, or is it a self-centered broadcast? We often approach the divine as a cosmic therapist or a celestial concierge. We present our problems, our demands, our detailed solutions for the world's issues, and then, satisfied with our presentation, we conclude and move on. This turns relationship into transaction. We treat prayer as a monologue for relief, never as a dialogue for intimacy. God desires partners, not petitioners. He seeks not only your requests, but your receptivity. The core error is the fear of silence. We fill the space with words because we are terrified of what the silence might reveal, or what God might actually say that challenges our comfort. But God speaks primarily in the quiet, in the space you create after you have finally finished venting. True prayer requires that you relinquish control of the conversation. When you have finished speaking, you must deliberately create a space of absolute, expectant quiet. Don't analyze, don't plan your next move. Just listen. The broken connection is often the result of one party, you, monopolizing the entire conversation. The connection mends when you finally say, I have spoken. Now I will be silent and listen. 7. The tyranny of emotion, replacing faith with feelings. This is arguably the most pervasive modern spiritual disease. We have replaced faith, a stubborn, enduring conviction, based on the truth of God's character and promises, with feelings, a volatile, transient state based on circumstances and neurochemistry. When we don't feel the emotional warmth, the high, the sense of closeness, we mistakenly conclude He is absent. We expect our devotion to be rewarded with instant, palpable euphoria. But what happens when you enter a spiritual desert? When the comfort is gone, the tingle dissipates, and you are left only with the cold, hard facts of your belief? This is where true faith is forged. The silence and the lack of feeling are not signs of God's withdrawal. They are often an invitation to maturity. He removes the emotional scaffolding to see if your belief is strong enough to stand on its own foundation. The promises of Scripture, not the intensity of your mood. The broken connection occurs when you allow your emotions to dictate your reality. You must intentionally anchor your soul to the unchanging truths of His faithfulness, even when your inner world screams otherwise. Faith is the deliberate choice to trust when you do not feel like trusting. Do not let the tyranny of temporary feeling supersede the certainty of eternal truth.